1, 2, 3. Maths for you and me and he and she. The parents gone to work. Them a do the maths. We are early for school. Me a do the maths. Me polishing my shoes. Me pulling up my socks. Taxi man collecting fear. Have to do the maths. The Zuma best level not drop and be proud of that. Maths in the schools need to improve. That. Challenge myself. Set goals up top. Maths are for me. Maths are for you. That. Look how hard me a work. Oh God. Now feel maths me work so hard. Confident out there now. One straight A's now. Maths in my world. Maths in my world.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our National Mathematics Parent Forum 2023 under the theme Reigniting the Math Flame, Light Up Our World. I'm your host, Lamar Edgehill, Regional Math Coordinator in the Ministry of Education and Youth, Region 5. Now, what should we expect today? We have for you today would be our presentation focusing on our parents and how our parents can actually support their child from home. Also, we'll have our panel discussion. We have two wonderful panelists here with us today, ready to share wonderful words and wonderful advice and ideas that you can take home and use with your child at home. Also, we'll close out with another presentation that focuses on your attitude as a parent and how that attitude can affect your child. Before we go any further, listen to this video.
Some marrying, you know. Yeah?
Yeah, man, I have the packet 6,000.
60,000.
Yeah.
How much I want?
Yeah, man, 2 days I want.
Man, no one else.
All right, let us just continue right with our program. All right, so like I said, we have some panelists here with us today. I want to just introduce them to you before we get into our presentation. So we have two wonderful folks here, parents, as well as a teacher who is also a parent. So we have our parent panelist, a father. He is Mr. Lytton Ferguson. He is the PTA treasurer for Eltham Park Primary School. Welcome to you, sir. Awesome. We have also with us a teacher and a parent. We have Miss Renette Raymond. She is the head of the mathematics department at the Enid Bennett High School. I hope I got that part right, Miss Raymond.
Yes, you did. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, awesome. All right, parents, viewers, we are happy that you are here with us today. Now, we want to go straight into our first presentation. So just join with me as I pull you towards this wonderful slide. So, like I said earlier, we are having our National Mathematics Parent Forum 2023. And today, we want to start off by looking closely at a particular question that is going to underpin how we focus our attention on our students' learning. And in keeping with the theme for today, we want to ask the question, what can we do to reignite this flame? That is our guiding question. Now, as we think about this question, we want to look at 3 supporting themes. In looking at what the parent should be doing to support their child at home, we want to first bring our attention to interest building. We want to ensure that at home with your children, you're able to play games, to look at activities that will bring about a greater interest towards the subject of mathematics. We want to also look at reinforcement. In relation to reinforcement, we want to take the opportunity to apply the math skills and the math content that the students learn at home. Quite often you may hear a child say that, boy, I don't see the relevance of mathematics. But as parents, it is our responsibility to play our part in showing the applicability of the content that is taught to our students at school, and so that they can see how it plays out at home. Additionally, we want to also focus on encouragement. We want to ensure that we encourage our children to push forward and try their best. We know that at times they'll make mistakes, little errors happen every now and again, but it's still important for us as parents to be able to encourage our children in this effort. So, let us get on with the presentation. Interest building. There's a very interesting notion that is put forward. And that notion is the fact that the things that we are interested in are the same things that we seem to do well in. Now, if it is that around our interest, there's also a heightened level of performance, or we seem to learn things much faster when we are in tune, it therefore becomes important for us to actually put emphasis on making mathematics an interest. Because once we begin to allow our students or our children to see the fun in math and begin to develop a level of interest, it is at that point in time you will find that they may learn the concepts much faster. So, with that said, there are a few things that you can do to support your child at home. One area that we want to look at is the fact that we play games on a regular basis. When you think about children, they play games a whole lot. And given that they play so many games, it would be good to tie the mathematics to that gaming feature. So what we want to do with our children then is to actually see how we can pull on various resources at home to bring that into the fore to use to bring across mathematics concepts. So I have on screen here dice, I have domino, and I have cards. I would love for our viewers to just put in the comment section just any other resource that you have in your house that you can take and apply and use to promote mathematics and to ensure that your child can actually play a game around that concept. All right? Now, as you do so though, I want to share, it could be a situation where you have a child at home and your child is supposed to be learning about, let's say, tens and ones, looking at numbers. I'm sure if you have 2 dice to play with, you could play a game where you roll the dice and then they need to quickly come up with the largest number possible that they can create, taking each dice or each die as a digit within the number. That's an idea. I want to encourage our viewers to just put in the comment section just any other game idea you have that can be applied so that our other viewers can pull on your strength and knowledge around math games. Now, outside of games, we have to also look at the area of reinforcement. Now, I was just going through social media recently, and in doing so, I came across this meme. And I found it quite interesting. There's a father talking to a son, and the son asks the question, "Why do I have to learn math?" And the father responded, "Because one day you'll have to teach your children how to do math. That's why it's important." Now, it's a very funny picture to me, but it's not the truth. The whole aim of learning math is not to have you be ready to teach your child math, but for it to be applied to our everyday life. When you think about what we do on a day-to-day basis, you'll find that mathematics is indeed in the mix. When you wake up in the morning, you check the time. I'm sure you have to determine how much time you have left before you get out of the house to get to work. I'm sure when you go to purchase an item, you want to ensure that you calculate the correct change so that you're not robbed or you don't rob the person who you're doing business with. So that's important. So it means that in reinforcing the math from home, we have to do a few things. One, you could, while cooking or baking, allow your child to come forward and to share the math concepts that they were exposed to in school. I'm sure while you're cooking something, your child can apply some measurement skills, some conversions, some looking at the beakers and so on. So here is a wonderful, quite natural opportunity for a child to be able to showcase their knowledge and apply it to something in the home. Additionally, we know that at times we do some amount of sorting and organizing. There's always a shelf somewhere to be packed, a cabinet to be reorganized, some things to be moved around. This is an opportunity to allow your child to use their spatial awareness, to be able to look at shapes. So this as an opportunity, we should seize it and ensure that our children are able to take on those opportunities. One that we cannot ignore though, we shop all the time. We spend money all the time. It's important to take this opportunity then to allow your child to help you with making the shopping list, to look at the amount of money that can be given to a particular item, maybe to round some values up, to ensure that what we have is enough to purchase the items needed, or to even consider the limitations, where there may be a total that you have to work with, and you have to ensure that you keep it within that bracket. So it's very important that we actually utilize these opportunities. There's also the idea of estimation. Your child grows regularly. I'm sure their parents complain that, boy, it was just last year I bought that shoe and now you can't fit him or her again. So it's important to factor this in where, because your child is growing, it's an opportunity to bring the measurement in again. So right there, we're seeing the natural connections with the concepts that exist. Now, when we think about the reinforcement, we want to also think about the encouragement factor. Because one of the things that we can't ignore when it comes down to mathematics is the fact that, again, our children may make mistakes. There are times when they'll feel as if they're not learning, they're not understanding, or because they make an error, for them, they believe that, boy, I'm just not good at math. But that's not the case. As parents, we need to ensure that we play our role in encouraging our children so that they can really begin to improve and take on the skill set. So we want to actually ask questions. We want to really query about the homework process. So when your child comes home, you should be asking the question, what did you get for homework today? Let me see it. Invite your child to actually teach you. Because there are times when you may not even understand what it is that is there, but there's no harm in learning a thing or two from your child or your children. So invite them to teach you. And at the same time too, while they're going through the process, encourage them. Show them, help them, make the mistakes with them, and let them know that, look, we're in this together, and over time, if we get at it, we can actually understand the concepts, right? So these are our little tips for you today. And at this point in time, I want to then bring our attention back to our panel. I want to say happy parenting, and I hope that this little presentation provided some amount of context for you, our viewers, and you could take from it and actually begin to incorporate that into your everyday life. All right, so now we are back right here with our panel. And I'm so happy that we have a male and a female here to ensure that we have a nice blend. We know that we have our father parents out there who have a role to play. We have our mothers out there as well. And I'm glad that we have not just a parent, but a parent who is also a teacher who can give us some technical advice as well. Again, welcome to you both.
Thank you.
All right, so mathematics is indeed an area that can be quite challenging for our students and your children on a whole. So how do you involve yourself in your child's learning experience of mathematics? Go ahead, Mr. Ferguson.
Well, as for me, I find creative ways to incorporate the knowledge to them, because maths is not an easy subject, and most children will tell you maths hard, but it's something that they need in their everyday life. So I find creative ways to put it to them in fun ways that we both can enjoy doing it together, and they will gravitate towards it better when you're doing it together and having fun doing it.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Now, Miss Raymond, as a teacher first, let me start there. There are times when our parents may come across some difficult concepts. What are some of the main math concepts that you believe that parents should pay attention to when they are helping their child or children at home?
Some of the concepts that I believe that parents could pay a keen attention to is the number concept, like the simple addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Parents use this actually every day in their day-to-day life, whether they're going to pay their fare to take the bus or to purchase gas or the supermarket, as was explained in the clip before. So that is very important for them to pay keen attention to those concepts since they already use it every day.
Awesome, and I like the idea of the addition and so on, because when you think about it, we have 4 basic operations, and when you extend to the various math concepts, you will find that behind any topic you do, it's going to boil down to one of the 4 operations. So I think that's a good idea for our parents. Let us tackle the math in terms of the operations, as well as to make it applicable to everyday life. Awesome. Mr. Ferguson, back to you again, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
So, you know, as a parent,
yes,
you know that you encounter other fathers out there, and they have their children, and they may not understand the math concepts very well, and they may want to shy away and believe that maybe it's a mother's job to help out with the academic side of things. But what advice would you have for fathers in support of their children learning
Try
mathematics?
to at least know the basics. And the basics are the four fundamental you speak about: the add, minus, multiply, division.
Right.
And if you know the different concepts, the difference between the four of them, then things can be much easier for you. You have to know at least the basics. I mean, we're not going to tell them about the algebras and the other areas which is a little bit challenging to them,
Right.
but at least know to make change, know how to know the difference between distance and time and things like those. I'll try to encourage all fathers at least to know the basic about the concept of maths.
Awesome, that's a good advice. You know, so fathers, you're being called on at this point in time to know the basics of mathematics, know the baseline things, and it puts you in a position to be able to respond and to aid your child as they take on math on a day-to-day basis. All right, back to our teacher, Ms. Raymond. Now, I want to tackle the issue of misconceptions. I know that I met someone once, and this gentleman was explaining to me that he has different ethnic backgrounds. So he was saying to me that, you know, he's half black, he's half Indian, and he's half Coolie. And when I thought about it, I said, but wait, that's a lot of halves. That man is more than a man. So when you hear those things, it tells me that there are some miscommunication, there's some little misunderstanding around some concepts. What are some of these misconceptions that we should look out for as parents?
All right, as you bring it to the half, I know when we're sharing, that's when most of the fraction misconception comes along. We cut the orange and we say, you take the bigger half, or I have the bigger half. But the half actually means it's divided into two equal parts. So we need to pay attention to those type of things so that we don't get our students or our child or children believing that it's not two equal parts, but it's one that is bigger, so we can say a bigger half, or I get the bigger piece or part of it. So that's one when it comes on to fraction.
Okay, any more? Not at this time. No problem. So, back to our father parent here, Mr. Ferguson. Now, mathematics is a part of our everyday life. We do it every day. Sometimes we do it without even noticing. We may even call it common sense when it's actually just math. Now, how would you encourage your child to really get into the real world application of mathematics at home?
It is very challenging for a parent to teach a child, especially in my situation. I remember my son in the earlier days. It's not so teacher teach me. So the way that I was taught then, especially to do like a long division, they're doing it differently now. And for me to break it down to him and to try to show him my way, he must say, no, it's not so teacher teach me. But they're not. It's not like it is wrong. It's the same. They arrive at the same answers, but it's just that different way of getting there. And I would encourage anyone at all to know at least the simplest format in which to get there.
Nice. That sounds really good. Let me continue with you, sir. So, mathematics again requires us to really own in on the concept, take the time to learn it, but sometimes it can be boring, it can be tedious. What ways do you have in mind that we could pull on to make math fun for children?
Depends on the age group again. For the primary student, you use whatever they like.
Okay.
If they like food, they use food. Divide up the pizza, show them how to divide it. If they like money, they're the children who love playing with money and love counting money, use the money. Whatever is it that they like, you use it. They like toys, you use the toys. And in that case, it will help to bring out that side of them that has been hidden, the math side. Because as I say, maths is everyday life, it's everyday part of life. So playing games, using the food, using the games, using money, whatever you can use to bring it out, is good enough.
Awesome, that's some good advice right there for our parents. So viewers, parents, I want to encourage you to tap into your children's their interests. Think about what they like. You see them on a day-to-day basis, look into that and see how you can use their interests to drive the fun in the mathematics. Thank you so much, sir. All right, Ms. Raymond, back to you again. So, as a teacher, What support strategies do you think you could recommend to our parents so that they can be better equipped to help their children from home?
All right, first, I'll advise them to look at your child textbook. You'd see the topics based on the child age group, all the topics that they'll go through throughout the entire year. And you can also consult with the teacher and find out what topic am I looking at now, so that you can use all the online resources. For example, YouTube. Search for a video in that subject area. You can actually teach yourself how different persons are there teaching the same concept, and you can find a way so that you learn it before coming to the students and actually better able to help that child with his or her concepts.
Awesome, awesome. I want to stay with you a little longer. Now, from a parent perspective, you have I believe your daughter, right?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. So how do you balance that role between being the teacher and being a mother at the same time and helping your child with math at home?
All right, so for me, my child loves mathematics, so that is not so difficult. And because she knows that I'm a maths teacher, she is very responsive to me teaching her the maths. But then, if I have a different way from which our teacher taught her, then we have a problem. Because she's going to say, Miss, I know some Miss do it. So then I'll have to accept that there are many ways of working the same problem,
yes,
and learn from what the teacher has taught her in order to help her with the mathematics problem.
Awesome. I want to pull on our viewers at this time. I know that's a critical point. There are times when there's a method that we are taught, and when we are taught a particular method, we may want to believe that if there's any variation from that standard, then it ought to be wrong. Parents, please bear in mind that there are many ways to solve a single problem. So have an open mind around these concepts and look to see what your child brings to the table when it comes on to mathematics. Mm-hmm. Now, when it comes on to open mind though, there are problem solving skills that we want our children to have. So Mr. Ferguson, how do you aid your child or children in the area of problem solving skills around mathematics? What do you do?
It's not an easy thing. So what is the problem? We have to find out what is the root of the problem first. Is it that you're not understanding, or you're not grasping as much as you're being taught? Then that much we need to identify what are the weak areas, what are the problems. Once we can identify what is the problem, then we can actually try and fix it from there. As for me, I'm not no great maths brain, but actually seeing it and have an idea, then it helped me. I just have an idea of how it is worked out, then it helped me to get across to them better.
All right, awesome. Parents, you heard that. So you don't have to know it all. You don't need to have a full understanding. What is required is just the effort, the willingness to start. And once you have that idea, you can just walk into the task with your child and together become partners in the learning process. And that's a whole mindset shift. Now, as I touch on the point of mindset, I was taught about two groups of thoughts. So we have a fixed mindset and we have a growth mindset. Mr. Raymond, you want to tell us the difference between those two and how we can promote the better one?
All right, so for the fixed mindset, I think basically you're stuck in your own way. You believe that this is the way things are supposed to go, and you're not willing to change. So for the growth mindset now, you have an open mind and a willingness to learn and to change. So that's the difference between two. In order for us to encourage our students or to have a growth mindset where mathematics is concerned, in order to help our students, we would have to be open to change, open to learn new strategies, new ways, to just change our mind and to practice a lot in order to help our students, different from what we would have known or what we would have learned in the past.
Awesome, awesome. I love that, I love that. So parents, again, I'm turning to you. It's important to develop a growth mindset among your children. It's important because we cannot go into the learning process believing that knowledge is fixed And if I don't understand or don't know, I'll never get it. We have to go in with the thinking that if we put out the effort, eventually we will get it. All right, as we're winding down for this segment, we want to turn back to our father, Mr. Ferguson. Sir, again, now you're a man, you're out there, you do your work, and I'm sure you had your own experiences around mathematics.
Yes.
How do you use your experience to actually promote the learning of mathematics among your child or children?
All right. Measurement is something that we use a lot. We have to use measurement on a daily basis. Whether we're measuring the distance, the height, the width, the square, we have to use it. And in me using it personally, I am more able to impart it onto them, to tell them you need to know the distance, the length, the width, the height, and stuff like those. And as we say, maths is a part of life. Everything you do in life, every day, every single day, every career that you choose, there's some involvement in maths. So you can't, even if you run into taxi, you have to know how much change to give your passengers.
Right.
So everything that you do in life, you have to know some form of maths, either just to calculate, either to give somebody back something, to measure something, to go a distance, anything at all.
All right, awesome. I like that. Thank you so much. All right, we have one more question to ask, and we'll ask this question to our teacher panelists, Ms. Raymond. Now, parents are out there wanting to support their child, their children from home. What resources can parents pull on to really aid in that learning process?
As was mentioned before, the internet, YouTube, that's a very good one, because they're always watching their little cartoons and stuff, so they can encourage them, and even practice papers that are on YouTube, so they can search for whatever topic, whether Google search, and then they'll look at the examples, work it, and then solve them. Another resource that they can use, well, since they would have been in school and in classes, and the teacher would have already worked the examples with them, when they're at home, they could rework the examples by closing their books, because the answers would have been provided for them already when the teacher corrected their work. So you could have them at home, rework all the examples, write off the question, work it outside of the book, open the book to see if they get it correct, and encourage them to continue to work.
Awesome, awesome. All right, I want to thank my panelists so far. We have some more work to do though, and I want to bring our attention to the screen because we have some common myths that I want to share. So I'm just going to ask us to just bring up these questions so we can, or these thoughts that we can share with our panelists and begin to discuss them together. And while I wait on the screen to change, the first common myth that I want to share with us, and parents listening in as well. Here's the myth. It's a statement. I struggled to learn mathematics when I was in school. Now that I am an adult, I think my child might grow up to struggle as well. All right, so it's on screen now. So again, I struggled to learn mathematics when I was in school. Now that I am an adult, I think my child might grow up to struggle as well. So that's the thought that we want to explore. And I want to first turn to our teacher panelists. All right, Ms. Raymond, what are your thoughts on this statement?
My thoughts are, we have seen where we have parents who weren't well at mathematics in school, but their child is very, very good at it. I guess because they struggled with it, then they put in the effort into making their child good at it. So they pay for the extra class, they put in the extra work, allow their child to practice so that the child will come up the same way. So the notion of them struggling not supposed to affect the child, as long as the parents have a growth mindset and don't instill in their child the negative mindset about mathematics.
All right, thank you so much. I have to turn now to Mr. Ferguson. Sir, so again, the statement is, I struggled to learn mathematics when I was in school. Now that I am an adult, I think my child might grow up to struggle as well. What are your thoughts on the statement?
That is one of the biggest myths ever. You know, everybody learns differently.
Right.
And the way that you were taught may affected you then because maybe you didn't like the teacher. So you didn't like maths. But now it is being taught to your child differently. So he or she tend to love it and enjoy doing it, excited about it, and just want to do maths every day. Don't want to do anything else. So it is one of the biggest myths ever.
All right, thank you. So let me turn my attention back to our viewers. So once more, having looked at this common myth, we want to encourage all our parents, our viewers, to note that not because you struggled, it means that your child is going to struggle as well. Please bear in mind that it's a different era, we have different teachers, different approaches to delivering the content. Don't project any negative thought process onto your child, your children. Allow them to learn and encourage them in their own right. All right, let us now switch over to a second common myth. All right, so this one says, if I don't understand the mathematics topic, then this means that there is no way I can help my child to learn. So again, if I don't understand the mathematics topic, then this means that there is no way I can help my child to learn. Let me start with Mr. Ferguson this time. Sir, your thoughts on the statement?
There is many ways to help.
All right.
You don't have to help physically. But being there to sit down and to encourage the child, talk with them, or even while they're doing it, you look over and say, yes man. Okay, try it this way. I mean, that is support.
That is support.
That is support.
I love the notion, support.
You know, and the support that you give might propel that child to want to go more and to go deeper to find out something else about it. And your lack of knowledge is not a good enough excuse. You know, so you might not know certain things, but at the same time try. Put in some effort in it and see if you can learn. I even try ask the child to assist you in putting it together.
All right, awesome. Good. I love your response. You know, it tells me that as a parent you have been trying.
Yes,
right?
man.
And I want to take this moment to encourage all our parents as well. You need to try. If it is that you don't understand, don't use it as a means to say that your child can't get it any at all. Don't decide that, boy, I don't know the topic, so I can't be of any service. Just being there and asking and showing an interest is enough help for the child. So do what you can do. All right? Now, I'm going to throw another statement out, and I'm going to give it to Ms. Raymond first. Now, this statement says, how my child is solving the math question is not the way we did it when I was in school. This means that the teacher is doing it wrong. Ms. Raymond, let me give you that one first. Let me clear the room for you. Go ahead.
As was said previously, there are many ways to solve one problem. And as long as you know that whatever problem we're working at, there's a lot of ways, as I said before. So we're not supposed to be thinking with our fixed mindset that there's only one way, so the teacher is doing it wrong. We could be doing it wrong. We might never know. So we'll have to be open to the fact that we're not the only person with an opinion, or this is not the only way of solving that one problem.
Okay, awesome. I like that thinking. You know, it's not the only way of solving the one problem. Let me throw that same statement out to our further panelists here, Mr. Ferguson. How my child is solving the math question is not the way we did it when I was in school. This means that the teacher is doing it wrong. Your thoughts on it, sir?
It's not that the teacher is doing it wrong. He's doing it a different way. And as I said earlier, the way that I was taught then, the chartboard era, I grew up in the chartboard era, and now these children are doing the YouTube.
That is
so.
so.
There are persons who learn it differently and taught and teach it differently, and based on how they put it across, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's just a different way of but arriving at the same place, same answer, same everything, but it's just that you do it a different way, but it doesn't mean that it is wrong.
Awesome. So let me turn again to our viewers. So this is a statement that we have to look into carefully. I have come across situations where indeed a parent may say, boy, they keep changing up the math and it's wrong and it's harder and it's difficult. But you see, as parents, we have to acknowledge that we go through different eras. There are times when because of how technology is improving and how the workforce is going, we have to adapt to the time. I often share that the whole purpose of education is to prepare an individual to become a functional member of society. And to be a functional member, you have to be able to interact and to carry out duties within the world you're living in. And the world that we're living in today is not the same world 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 15 years ago. It's a different place. So because it's different, we have to ensure that we are open-minded towards how lessons are taught. We may move away from the rote learning and all of a sudden your child coming home with diagrams. I want to share an example. So I remember in school when we were being taught how to multiply fractions, we're just told straight up, you multiply numerators and then you multiply denominators. Am I saying it right?
Numerator.
All right, multiply them, right? Now, if it is that's how we are taught, a child today comes home being taught how to multiply fraction for the first day. And when you look in the book, you don't see any multiplication taking place. You see drawings, you see some rectangles in the paper, and you see some rectangles drawn a particular way, and you say, but wait, why are you shading for multiplication? And we wonder, but wait, what is this? It's just a different way of looking at it. So it's a conceptual approach to delivery. So parents, I want to encourage you today, when it is that your child comes home with the math book and you realize that the approach that is being taken to deliver the content is not the same way you are used to it, don't throw it aside and say, no, that's wrong, or that is harder, that's different. You need to embrace the approach. Say to your child, you know, when I was in school, we didn't do it this way. But now that you're doing it this way, show me. I want to learn from you. Tell your child that I want to learn from you. Show me so that I can benefit from what you're doing today. Because knowledge changes over time. We change the facts. We grow. I remember there was a time when Pluto was a planet. It's not a planet anymore. It's taken off the list.
Yes.
And I'm sure that's just how we reclassify and define things. But anyway, I have another statement that I want to share with our parents and our panelists here today. And this one says, some children are simply not good at math, right? And there is nothing that can be done to change this. It's a very strong statement, you know. I hope our viewers are also commenting on the statements that are being made. I think I want to go with Ms. Raymond first. So this statement, take it on for us.
Just like with anything that we deem to not be good at or to be good at. For example, playing football, and we practice that every day. Right now, Champs is going on. We train every day. That's the same thing we need to take on with the mathematics. We need to practice it every day so that we can become good at it or better at it. Even if it's not our best, at least we'll make an effort to change.
Awesome, awesome. All right, Mr. Ferguson, your turn. The same statement. Some children are simply not good at math, and there's nothing that can be done to change this.
Yes, man, there's something that can be done. As my fellow Pauline said just now, practice. And I heard a coach said something some time ago. He said that you can bring up a guy to him who can't even kick a ball straight, but at the end of the day, when he's leaving, he's gonna be able to be one of the biggest strikers on the field. But because of practice. So if that child don't know how to do the maths, and you take him steps by steps on a daily basis, go through it, set a timetable, and you take it on every day. If it's even to do one single one per day, take it on a daily basis. Let's do this one, and tomorrow we'll do another one, and every day you practice, and you'll be surprised to know that child become a math genius.
Okay, awesome. You know, I want to pick on a statement that I heard, you know, practice. And that's an important element, parents. We have to practice. But when we think about the practice, we have to tie it to our belief system as well. So when we say that the students are not good at math, or our child is not good at math, when we stop at that statement, it's not enough. We need to ensure that we first do away with the thought process that the child can't get it. Now, the thing about math, that I have to talk about this now, the thing about math, unlike other areas, you may find that mathematics is a building block. So if I miss math class on Monday and I go to math class on Wednesday, let me ask, Mr. Raymond, do you think I would function well in Wednesday's class because I missed Monday's class?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily. And I see that's an important point to note. So, viewers, what happens in a math setting is because the curriculum is spiral, meaning that one lesson is the foundation for the next lesson, when there's a gap in understanding, what happens here is that the child doesn't understand. And when you hear the child say, I don't understand, it's not a matter that they don't even understand what is being taught. It's more of they lack the prior knowledge needed to enter the task comfortably. So when you hear them say, boy, they're not good at math, you have to find where is their starting point. And use that starting point as a means to springboard forward into the next segment. Right. So we have said a lot. We have discussed so much so far. Are there any myths other from what is shared so far? I don't know if our panelists can come up with any myths that you know of. And our viewers, if you have any myths that you know of and you want to share it in the comment section, please do so as well. We'd love to hear some other myths that we need to debunk. I don't know, panel, do you think of anything else that persons may have as a thought that is negative? We need to work on that? Or nothing comes to mind right now? Not right now. But I'm sure there are many others. But as they come up, parents, I want to encourage you not to take every statement as truth to say, boy, let me just run with it. You need to think carefully. Is there any alternative to this thought process? And behind it all, we have to hold on to the belief that our children, they can indeed function, they can learn, it just requires effort. Now, as I get on the point of effort, I want to bring up a second presentation for you. And I'm just waiting for it to come on screen so you can see it as well. I want to talk about promoting a positive learning attitude, right? I'm just waiting for it to come up, but promoting a positive learning attitude, we have to go there. Content isn't the only focus for us in math lessons. We can't focus on content only. Content is, yes, what we need to learn, but we have to equally give attention to disposition, how you feel about what you're learning. Because how you feel when you're learning impacts how well you assimilate or understand the content being expressed to you. So we have to ensure that we are careful on how we react and behave around mathematics. The statement says here, be careful of what you say to your children in relation to learning mathematics. Right? Now, when it comes down to mathematics and the child learning, if it is that you begin to pressure them while they're learning, so you may hear some common statements. Where you get that wrong? Where you get that from? How you got that answer? And there's an angry tone that comes with it. That's all you learn? You couldn't do better. Those heavy statements really can discourage a child. And we don't want to discourage them from learning. Learning in general is something that requires effort and it comes with hiccups. When a child is riding a bicycle for the first time, I'm sure they don't just jump on the bicycle and then start riding perfectly down the road. It doesn't work that way. What really happens is you fall off a few times, you stumble, you rock a bit. But over time, with effort and emphasis, you find that you develop a better ability to function. The same can be said about mathematics when learning. So your attitude towards the subject area plays a big part in that learning process. Now I want to bring us through a little activity. And we want to look at some do's and don'ts. And I'm going to invite the panel to be a part of the discussion as well. Now, for the do's and don'ts, what I'll be doing, I'm going to share what it is that someone may say in the negative. And then I'm going to invite, yes, the panel to come up with an idea that would be a more acceptable statement in opposition to the don't. I'm going to also invite our parents, our viewers online, to type in the chat a statement that would be more aligned with what should be said. All right. So let us start the activity. So the first statement, and I see the statements went off screen, I hope they come back soon. But the first statement that I want to pull on is, for the don't, is I was never good at math. So don't worry if you don't understand it. So that's the first statement. It says, I was never good at math. So don't worry if you don't understand it. Again, I want to invite our viewers to type in the chat a statement that would be a safer or better counteraction to what is here, because we don't want to spread this negative message. And as you prepare to type in the comment section, I've given my panel a little time to think about it. I don't know who wants to give us a spin on what they should be first. Any takers first?
Teacher.
If everybody want to go first? Anything. Just give us a spin on
I'm
it.
coining the second part. I was never good at maths, but I encourage you to work hard in doing it.
Awesome. So you're saying, I was never good at math, but I'm encouraging you to work hard.
In
All
doing
right,
it.
that's a nice little spin on it. That's nice. All right, so let's keep it on screen. So let's go to Mr. Ferguson now, and I want to have your twist on the same statement.
All right. It is simple, you know. Whatever is it that I wasn't good at, I want my child to be better.
I like that one,
You know, because the fact that I may had challenges with it, that doesn't mean that you're gonna have the same challenges. I want you to be better than I was then. So I will do whatever it takes in my power, if you see that I need to get help from outside, to get you to go over that barrier. Because maybe the reason why I didn't like it was that I was having challenges in some other areas. And the persons who were teaching me weren't teaching me the way that for me to understand it. So if it means that I have to get help outside to get you over it, then I'm willing to do just that.
Nice. I like the dialogue that you're having around the statement. So it's beyond just the statement only, but it's also extending it towards having a dialogue to say, you know, I may not have done well when I was your age at this area, but I am willing to work with you to get further ahead. That's the aim. I want you to advance beyond me. All right, so let's share what a statement could be. And bear in mind, there's no one right statement. This is just another version of a correct response. And I want you viewers to compare your own thoughts to what is on screen and what was being said by our panel as well. So we have the statement here. Don't bring it back. Don't worry if you don't understand math right now. We can work on it together and improve your skills with practice and persistence, right? And that's a spin on it. I hope that in the chat we see other persons sharing as well their own thoughts on the matter. Right, so let's look at another statement. So this statement now, it says here, waiting for it, here we go. Math is too hard. Right, so parents out there, math is too hard. You'll never be able to figure it out. That's what I'm seeing here on screen. That's the statement that we want to counteract. So again, viewers, I want you to put in the comments section a statement that is going to be the counteraction to this one. It says math is too hard. You'll never be able to figure it out. And I can picture a parent saying that to a child. Math is too hard. They'll never figure it out. All right. So I'm going to give my panel just a moment to just think about it. And while you think about it, you will be able now to have our parents sharing in the chat with us. But who wants to go first?
Well, I personally like a good challenge, and I encourage my children to take on challenges. Harder it is, it's more challenging. It gives you more reason to want to get to the bottom of it, because at the end of the day, this challenge will propel you to be able to find out new ways to do it, more resourceful ways to get things done. Because at the end of the day, harder it is, yes, I want to do it. I want to get that zest and that zeal to get it done, because the challenge that comes with it. So nothing is wrong with having it being hard. Just it means that you're going to have to work a little bit harder to get it done.
Get it done. Awesome, I like that. I want to share some of the comments that we're hearing from our viewers in the chat. I'm seeing here a statement. First, it starts with the mindset. Second, practice and patience. Thirdly, getting the necessary assistance that they need. I see one here that says, you can do it. Never say you can't. And I think that's a very simple and straightforward statement. I'll read it again. You can do it. Never say you can't. And I have one more that I want to share. It says, I was never good at math, so I'm here to help you to be a great math boss. I like that one. Great math boss. Thank you to our viewers, to our parents who are out there participating in the chat with us as we go through this segment. Now I want to take us back to the screen, and I want to share with you an alternative statement. And again, we want to be open-minded to say that there's no one right statement, but just here is a version that could stand in. So this one says, don't worry, math can be challenging, but with hard work and a positive attitude, you can improve your skills. I think that's a nice one, and I think I saw one earlier that mimics this one as well. So it tells me that our participants in the chat, they're actually following along and they're garnering much from what is being said and done at this point in time. But we're not finished yet. We still have another one to look at. So let me draw our attention to this statement. So this one says, you are taking too long to understand the topic. I can picture someone on their toes now, really frustrated, saying you are taking too long to understand. I might even go on to say, what is so hard in this that you're taking so long to understand? And that's a negative statement that we're hearing now. So, viewers, I want you to continue to share the alternative with us in the chat and give us what it is that should be the twist to this statement. We want to get the positive counteraction to this negative statement. But as you type in the comment section, let me turn to our panelists and allow them to give us their thought on it. I don't know who wants to go first this time.
I want to encourage productive struggle with our students. So it's not just about getting the answer correct, but the procedure and the steps taken to get the correct answer. So I want to encourage them, though at first don't pay too much attention to the time the child takes to understand what is really going on with that problem or that situation or that scenario. Allow the child to struggle a bit, to work it out, to take their time to really get the underlying concept behind it, and then we work on the time at a later date.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Anything from you, Mr. Ferguson?
Yes, a child sitting there doing the work, and you telling the child, what taking you so long? That's a wicked thing, you know, because at the end of the day, you don't know how the child reasons, what is the child reasoning, trying to reason it out. And the fact that you allow them to reason it out on their own, time doesn't really matter. At least at the end of the day, he will learn to appreciate it more because he did it on his own, he worked it out on his own. Nobody never tell him the answer. But at least he worked it out, he was able to work it out on his own. So whatever time it takes, he will learn how to appreciate it more.
Well said, well said, well said. All right, so viewers, you heard it here. When the statement is made, you are taking too long to understand the topic, and I hope to see it on screen again soon. You're taking too long to understand the topic. It's important for us to find the positive spin to this, and I'm going to share a spin on this statement, and I want to also expound some more on it as well. But here is what I have to share with you. It says here, it's taking some time, but keep trying, you will eventually get it. And I want to labor this point some more before we move on, because we have to ensure that we walk away with the right thinking around math and learning. For a very long time, viewers, persons hold the viewpoint that for math, you have to do it quickly, do it fast. And I probably think it stems from maybe testing, you know, there's always a time limit and you want to get it within the time frame. But when it comes on to math, yes, speed is a part of what we want to get at. But I don't want us to emphasize speed too early. Speed is not to be an emphasis when you're learning. Speed comes in when you understand it already. So what happens traditionally then is you want a child to learn quickly and then begin to work questions quickly as well. that is not the flow that we should be holding on to. What we really should be leaning on is during the learning process, it needs to be slow and steady. Make the mistakes, struggle a bit, have those wow moments, those, oh, I see it now. You want those moments to come out with your child as they're learning. Because what that does, it gives them a deep sense of understanding around the concepts.
They won't forget it.
Right. And like what our parent just said, they won't forget it. So when they spend the time with you, it's not at school now where it's 1 hour for the lesson, they're at home and they can spend as much time to struggle through a topic. Once they struggle through and eventually get the concept and they begin to understand it and they show evidence of understanding, it is at that point in time we can begin to emphasize speed. And again, there's no indictment if you're speeding through and you're not getting it. What you want to emphasize is understanding first, and once you confirm understanding, then you can move over to look at the speed component, which isn't something that you have to do, but it is advantageous to be able to work things quickly. So bear those things in mind. So we have no more questions to share at this point in time. We have looked carefully at quite a few statements, and I want to take this time now to really thank our panelists. You know, it's good that you took the time to be here with us. Mathematics is an area that requires us to really focus on it. There is a common rhetoric around mathematics where when someone is struggling to read, you may hear them say, you know, I don't have my glasses right now, you know, so I can't read this. And it's done to hide the fact that maybe they struggle to read. And there's a little sense of embarrassment around not being able to read. But then on the flip side, somebody will boldly, I mean with all of their chests, say, you know, I can't do math. You know, I'm not good at math. And they're comfortable to say that. And it tells me two things in particular. It tells me that there is an acceptance around not being able to do math to the point where persons are okay with saying out loud that, no, I don't like math, I hate math, and I can't do math. At the same time, too, it also tells me that there's maybe a disregard for the subject as well. But parents, we want to get to that place where we can begin to embrace math and begin to say, you know, I may not understand it, but I want the best for my child. I want my child to understand the math concepts. So we have to change the narrative. We have to begin to say math and learning is not only in school. Learning takes place right throughout our lives. Learning takes place at home. I can be going on the road. I can learn something. I can apply my knowledge. I can begin to show understanding through the application of what I've been taught in my everyday life. So, before we close out, I want to give our panelists an opportunity to share any major recommendation that they may have for our viewers today. And, you know, as you gather your thoughts, I want to really thank our viewers for taking the time to be here with us today. We really appreciate your participation. We appreciate your active response in the comment section. We appreciate the fact that you are in dialogue with us and following us through the entire conversation. We're happy that you took the time to be here, and we want to encourage you to continue to play a major role in your child's life. Begin to take on what was said from our panelists. Some wonderful things were said earlier, and we want to ensure that you take those home with you and begin to incorporate it in your child's life. So let's hear some final thoughts from our panelists, the recommendations that they may want to share with us. Who wants to go first?
All right.
Mr. Ferguson, out to the blocks.
Yes,
go ahead, sir.
Especially to the fathers. It is not a shame to say you don't know. However, you don't have to remain that way. Just like we try to improve our knowledge on these new cars.
Right.
Maths is something that changes over a period of time. Try your best to catch up with the time. Try to learn something new. Try to grab on to whatever your child is currently learning, because at least we might not know everything, but have an idea of how it is being done, how it is being taught to them now compared to what was being taught then, because back then we didn't have so much electronic devices
Right.
teaching us. So we can use even these same electronic devices that we walk around with every day and to learn something new. Google, YouTube is there. Use it and actually to propel yourself to another level. Just like we want to learn more about the new version of the cards, try to learn more about the maths and the new type of maths that is being taught now.
Awesome, awesome. There's some profound words right there coming from Mr. Ferguson, one of our parent panelists here this evening. Some words that we can take, and especially to the fathers. I appreciate the line, especially to the fathers who you have your children out there and you want to be a part of their lives when it comes down to learning. We don't leave it up alone to the mothers. We want the fathers to play a critical role in their child's learning. Math skills is something that we do every day, and we need to find the opportunity to share that with our children. Wonderful words there, sir. Thank you so much. All right, Ms. Raymond, our parent and teacher, what are your recommendations for our panel, for our viewers today? Go ahead.
My recommendation are, first, don't be afraid to ask for help, right? You can ask help from the teacher, from even someone close by. Don't be afraid to just seek help for that which you don't understand. Another thing is that support your child. Just as how we support them in doing other activities that they show interest in, support them in learning the mathematics. Spend the time with them, whether you're on the road, whether you're at the supermarket, when you pass those signs on the street, show you how much kilometers you have passed. Support them there, show them the importance of maths in every day, and I'm sure they will be good at it eventually.
Awesome, awesome. Show them, and eventually they'll be good at it. Boy, parents, I believe that this evening was a treat. We had a wonderful conversation with some intelligent individuals here who really took the time to be here with us today. I want to thank them so much. You know, this conversation has been impactful for me as well. When I think about the fact that what was shared, you don't even have to understand it all. All you need to do is just put out the effort, try. And as was said, reach out. Don't be afraid to call on your teachers. Don't be afraid to reach out and get better understanding of what's taking place in your child's life when it comes down to the learning of mathematics. We have discussed a lot this evening, and parents, we want to just encourage you to take home what has been shared. Continue to follow what is taking place on social media here. Today we have had our National Mathematics Parent Forum under the theme, Reigniting the Math Flame, Light Up Our World. We want to take this and we want to go and light up our world when it comes on to mathematics. We want to have a future where our children are able to apply math skills. We're going now into an era where we need 21st century learners who are equipped with the knowledge, the skill, the critical thinking, the problem solving skills, the ability to function in a world. And the world that we're preparing for is a world that has not even yet been created, because the jobs of tomorrow have not yet been created. The things that we'll do tomorrow, they're upcoming. And because of this, we want to ensure that we take the time to prepare our children to function in a world that we'll be living in tomorrow. So, once again, thank you to all our viewers. We truly enjoyed having this moment with you. Thanks again to our parent panelists and our teacher panelists, Ms. Raymond and Mr. Ferguson. It was a delight to have you here with us today. A wonderful conversation. Now, the week of math celebration has not ended. We continue. I do know that across the regions, there are other activities taking place. I know that probably Region 6 will be having an activity as well as Region 2. So Region 6 and Region 2 will be having an activity, Region 4 as well. So please tune in to their activities that they'll be having in the respective sites. Please reach out to your schools to determine what math activities taking place, because National Math Week is celebrated this year in March from the 26th to the 31st of the month. So the week is not yet over, and this Friday, we're having our STEM Novation. So our STEM Novation will be at UWI. So we look forward to seeing our invited schools out to our STEM Novation that will be held at UWI this Friday. Thank you so much, and all the best to you.